bad, MrBeast.
Did someone want Feastables?
Hey!
Who wants Feastables?
I actually do want Feastables. Thank you.
You get Feastables.
Oh.
You get Feastables.
Hey everyone, here's an edited clip from a Boy live stream. If you want to catch these live, they stream 3 times a week on Twitch. Enjoy this highlight.
Brings us to this one, which is old news, but then we haven't really talked much about it, but because of, recent events, it's kind of interesting to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing about this is, like, with American company towns specifically, like, America is, like, there's a massive history of company towns, like, next level ones where, I mean, Foxconn's pretty fucked, but this one's, like, even bigger because, like, the company town would issue its own currency.
Yeah.
So instead of spending any of the money outside, everything you earn is paid through, like, company money, which you can only spend at company stores. And so, like, you don't actually have a salary. You are just... Yeah. You are essentially working for free.
It's like you've got food stamps, but also I wouldn't be surprised if they have a markup. They're not selling you those products at
they want to make money
at wholesale value. They're making profit off you buying their own food, which you have no choice to buy.
Because you only had company money.
Yeah.
And that led to, like, pretty much, like, the biggest fucking strikes and protests and even, like, fucking militant action in America, which is, like, the railway strikes and all these mining strikes that were happening. It was enormous. People were fucking shooting the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Fordlandia is really good as well. They mentioned that's the one in Brazil.
That's sick.
Anyway.
So with MrBeast, why is this article so fucking cringy, millennial? Mr. Buying his employees the street to live on is bad, actually. It's like how Elon Musk.
Millennials. So lame.
But I think it's interesting because it's like he buys someone a home and obviously they don't have to rent from him. Yeah, I don't think that's bad. If you join up to his company.
Oh, there it is.
What is that one? If you join his company and you get a house, great. But I think the was knocking very aggressively at the door. So if you then if he buys you a house and you don't own it, and then you're renting a house from MrBeast, let's say for a cheaper rate, which sounds like a great thing because obviously he's meaning that you have to spend less money and it's probably closer to work, so it's easier for you, but then you become stuck, which is kind of hard. His conditions are obviously not the same as Foxconn. I don't think anyone's fucking killing themselves at MrBeast town. It is just really interesting that there's a YouTuber with enough power to do this. And then I'm sure that this kind of explains why some of the, the allegations that have come out about, I think, the working conditions, it's all linked to this feeling of it being like a thing that's so big that you're a part of. Thank you.
But I think I've thought about it a little bit better just then while running downstairs to get food.
This looks delicious. Thank you.
Yeah. The reason why it's more palatable in a place like Yugoslavia is that the idea of getting a job and being guaranteed, these human rights through your labor is kind of nice and kind of dodgy at the same time. I think the scary thing about a company town is that the only reason it works is because you've got a broken system where people don't have these things. If it was like a government plan, then everyone would have access to it, and then it's less appealing. It's not like if I lose this job, I lose my house. It's like if I lose this job, I get another job, and it guarantees me the house.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the only reason this is bad is because it's preying on the fact that America's fucked and no one has a house. Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like if the circumstances are perfect, I'm sure you could have these kind of communes.
That's what I'm saying.
Which are very good. Yeah, for the MrBeast employees.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's bad in the sense that it can only really exist in these circumstances.
Yes. But then I think what has happened is that you don't just get the house for free. I think you have to rent from. I think. So you're closer to work. I don't know the exact details. That might be wrong. And then obviously you're reliant and you don't want to leave.
How nice is this?
Yeah, Vietnamese food is the best.
Best fucking food in the world.
Fucking love it.
Anyway.
You pay rent in MrBeast bucks.
Yeah.
I looked away at chat and look how much sauce I put.
It's okay. You maybe wipe it on. I don't mind.
He bought a lot of houses. Bought a whole street.
Where? In North Carolina?
In North Carolina.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I don't know what the situation's like. I know the, MrBeast boys, the more close ones that we're friends with, like it. But I guess they're also very high up in the company. So I don't know what a normal person...
Yeah, and that's it. It's interesting because our interactions with Jimmy have always been very positive, but then I'm sure he treats us differently to the way he treats other people, and just like how we treat people different. If I'm talking to a YouTuber, I'm going to be tried to be like
as impressive
as possible. To an employee said, no matter how much I love my job and my colleagues, I would not want them to have constant access to me, be able to keep tabs on whether I'm home or not, or know my personal business.
Yeah. I
especially would not want this if my work environment was difficult, my boss demeaned me regularly, and I wasn't given credit for my work. As a former editor for Donaldson agreed.
Alleged.
Another said that Donaldson had unreasonably demanded and quit after working for him for a single week. Several employees alleged that working conditions at his multiple companies were rife with favoritism and bullying. And it is so interesting because it's like, I don't think that, I think the best thing about being a YouTuber is that you don't have to do things normally. You don't have to, like a normal company where you focus solely on just profits. As a YouTuber, you're being creative and you can go, oh, I don't have to do these exploitative things. I can make my own time. I don't have to work as much as other people, and I can be nice to others around me. And it's so weird to see Jimmy transform this into a predatory company.
It depends what your goal is, right?
Yeah.
If your goal is just to make entertaining content, you can do that without doing this stuff. If your goal is to expand this giant business, you're going to operate like every business does under capitalism, which is predatory.
Yeah. I remember we said it before, but you don't have to, like Ludwig's fucking worker-owned company. This brings us into the next. It was kind of interesting. I haven't really heard many people talking about this. I don't know if we should watch it's only 9 minutes long. We can watch it on 1.25. But this is about the most damning MrBeast allegations about Feastables. And this isn't allegations against just Jimmy. It's kind of just talking about, obviously, the chocolate industry as a whole. Stuff we kind of already knew. But there is something very interesting in this, in that they talk about Jimmy kind of maybe actually knowing that there was child labor happening.
I'm not a lawyer, but from what I understand with these kinds of cases, it's like the CEO is liable for this kind of stuff. Even if they didn't know, because it's their role to know.
Yeah, they're meant to look it up. All right, let's give this a watch. Tell us how the sound is. Have we watched the video yet? No.
I've been tracking all the MrBeast accusations, and while some are worse than others, I think this one is by far the worst. In this video, I'm going to try to prove 2 points. The first is that MrBeast and Feastables is using child labor and forced labor for their chocolates.
Doubled?
And has been since around late 2023. And the second point is more damning. I believe that since the beginning of Feastables, MrBeast knew that he was going to use child labor and forced labor for his chocolates, but he tried to fool us into thinking otherwise.
Fixed. A little quiet too.
Look, I review chairs, home office tech, and gaming stuff. I am not a journalist, although I think in another life I could have been a decent one.
Good.
And I'm not an activist, nor will I.
Yeah, people are saying it's good now.
This shirt costs $20, so it's probably made using some kind of exploitation. All that being said, I think I found some damning stuff about Feastables that I thought you should know. My editor and I took a lot of time to research this, and of course, everything in this video is alleged, and
that's how you say it.
Are my own opinion. So now that I've made MrBeast lawyers very unhappy, let's first talk about chocolates and child labor.
Have you ever seen the numbers of people that are working in chocolate?
Wait. Is that the judge from Brazil?
Yes, that's the Sith Lord.
That's the Voldemort Sith Lord.
Horrible conditions?
Around 20 years ago, a series of news stories and a documentary found that young children, some of whom had been enslaved or trafficked, were working on cocoa farms that supplied major chocolate companies.
If you walk by a chocolate store, you never say, oh, child labor.
Oh yeah, a lot of kids died for that.
The thing about this is, though, I don't believe there's any way to purchase chocolate that hasn't that child labor hasn't been used in the process, because beans are always mixed. You know, there's always a market where they buy beans. I mean, maybe there's some specific boutique ones that comes only from one farm, but like, you don't know that. Like, you really don't know that. Like,
even then, like, you ordering pure things, like, it's not really a solution to the issue. At
No.
the consumer level, it's not like you should pick stuff that only has child labor.
no, exactly. And if
No,
it's
you
not a
need- you need
child,
a-
someone else is getting exploited then. So it's like, what are you talking about?
It's like, I don't like it when a child's being exploited, but like, it's not that different in my head to a fucking 70-year-old woman getting exploited, you know? Like, it's the system that allows it. And we don't have enough power as consumers to stop that. Put the whole thing in your mouth.
That chocolate you're giving for your
A lot of little, tiny, unformed bodies are being forced to dig holes in the ground.
Yeah.
Like
fucked.
many other industries, chocolate is notorious for its exploitation of children using child labor and slave labor. They use child labor, forced labor, unsafe conditions to farm these cacao beans that eventually makes its way to become chocolates at your table. And oftentimes these farmers, they are too poor to ever even eat the chocolate itself. Case in point, Feastables is made in Peru, but guess where it's not sold? Peru.
He has been waiting for a long time to try Mr.
That's what I had. It's really funny in Colombia. Like, pretty much all coffee you can buy in Colombia is imported.
Yeah. Crazy.
Because all the coffee they make is sold around the world for much more than Colombians can buy for.
No, it happens so often. Well, this is so sad. This is a kid. He's a MrBeast fan, and he can't buy the chocolate where it's in the country it's made. It's crazy.
Beast chocolate.
He could probably
is not
make the
available.
chocolate, though. He could probably get a job.
That's a fucking... And then he can get close to MrBeast as well. Then he can get abused by his workers.
Oh my god, yeah. Then Delaware could go and...
He went straight from the airport to Walmart to get them.
This exploitation is well documented, and brands such as Hershey's and Mars, and perhaps we're going to see Feastables today, are notorious for refusing to eliminate child labor and slave labor from their supply chain of chocolates. With that being said, I'm going to try to prove my first point, that MrBeast is using child labor and slave labor for his chocolates today and has been since late 2023. When Feastables first launched in January of 2022, if you went into their FAQ, their frequently asked questions section, they proudly displayed that they were child labor free and slave labor free. As a matter of fact, in April of 2023, they doubled down and they added to their list of main menu options this option that said we're slave free. And if you clicked it, it had
I think it's such a good indictment of the system that, like, it's a marketing to write that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a given.
Yeah.
We don't put Jews in a concentration camp. Here's a big logo that says it, everybody.
Yeah,
Like,
proof. And it's really funny because it was an idea for one of our videos. You have, obviously, the people who guarantee that these companies are slave-free
yeah.
are also private companies.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's in their interest also to certify people, get people to pay for the certification and do the process. So we're working on a video. We just don't have a company yet. Working on a video where we try to get our sweatshop certified by one of these rating agencies. So it's like,
yeah.
even this bare minimum is also like pretty dodge.
Yeah. It's like a Nathan Field a bit. Yeah, exactly. Just getting someone to like get as many certifications as you can. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time, don't you just pay for them?
Yeah.
It's just like a paid thing.
Well, no, it's a joke also because like the biggest corporations in the world all have like A ratings on these things. It's like you're literally this is a company that's like Coca-Cola that will like
Oh, wait.
privatize all the water in like a Mexican state and then make it so they can only drink Coke.
Wait, are people saying that is a Nathan Fielder thing that's already
Oh,
been
you
done?
already did that? Oh man.
Wait, did he actually already do that?
Oh, good thing we didn't make the video.
Oh, that's fucked.
Good on him.
No, I mean, it's fucked for us. He did. Ah, shit. Okay. Well, that's another video we won't end up doing now.
I mean, we
like
might
all the
still
other
do
videos we've got.
Might still do it.
an entire dedicated page talking about how they were free of slave labor and child labor. But just a few months later, in October of 2023, that main page item that said we're slave free, that was removed.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Like, that's probably the worst thing you can do. Like, if you didn't mention it in the first place, like, I wouldn't suspect it, because when I go to fucking any website, when I go to Big W, I'm not looking for a big sign that says this is slave free. I kind of
you know
presume
that it's gonna be
I
made
know
by
it is
slaves.
by a slave. Yeah, I actually go to the stores that say slave made. Yeah, it's just cheaper.
Well, it's their job creators.
Yeah, exactly.
These slaves wouldn't have jobs. Big W. Big
Yeah,
W.
exactly.
frequently asked questions section, that stuff about being child labor free and slave labor free, that stuff also disappeared. Later in May of 2024, and even to this day, there's no mention whatsoever at all about any kind of
I mean, look, I think this is really good journalism because this is like pretty clear-cut evidence.
It is
like,
proof, yes.
It's just like no company accidentally does something like this.
No.
Like this is a move that like a board of people would have discussed.
Yeah.
And been like, we don't have a certification. What do we do about the website? And they're like, well, we have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's because I don't even think Jimmy would really be the one to take some responsibility away from him. He would hire, a team of people. It's still his responsibility.
It's your brand, and if you're the CEO, you,
But he would, I'm sure he would have just found a chocolate production company and just, they would have made it with them, Yeah, it's...
But like, look,
sorry.
Tell us about your potential merch coming out.
Yeah, well, so I have been trying to produce an apron for a really long time to sell. And it's hard because I don't care about products that much myself in terms of like, I've never bought YouTubers merch. And so I was like, well, what I want to do is actually make something useful. I'm going to do t-shirts as well. And I was like, I want to make an apron because it's, people might actually wear it and use it for a function. So I was like, I want it to be higher quality than normal. And then obviously when you start to look at what everyone else is producing, the only reason they're sellable at all is because they're all made in Pakistan or somewhere else. Even the ones that are really expensive, like to make an apron that is like 100% completely ethical made, like every step of the way, it would probably cost $500 or $600 for an apron. And then, so what I ended up doing, because I found aprons that were made in Pakistan, and even though they were beautiful quality, I was like, I can't go with these because they're made in Pakistan. But it's crazy because you realize, oh, they just bought this apron in Pakistan for $20 and they upsell it for $300.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing quality. So then the kind of way that to make it feel better is American made stuff. So it's like,
there's some labor regulations.
There's some labor regulations, but it's still not, which is the annoying thing. It's like, because it's American made, but they still don't make the leather themselves.
Yeah.
They just put it together in America. So it's like, I'm paying more for a stamp to say it's American made.
Yeah.
And it's like, there are Australian unions, but leather work stuff, it's not possible.
It's hard to find a union that makes it at scale. It's very boutique.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's hard because I think essentially if you do merch, even if you get union made stuff, even if you do all of it, union made's obviously the best case scenario, but that cotton still comes from somewhere, It's like, it's really hard.
Because you're producing something in a global economy that's set up on slavery. So you can try your best to find like the most ethical alignment, but at the end of the day, somewhere in the fucking supply chain, there's gonna be someone's getting
I'll run downstairs and get it because someone said, would you do a synthetic leather? Yeah, I'm doing a synthetic leather. It's like, it's good. It's actually feels tougher than real leather. It's like a car seat leather, so it's like a faux leather.
Contact dries the bone. I don't know. I think it's like, it's a weird position to be in because like, you guys have been constantly mentioning that you like merch, you'd like some merch, and like we want to produce merch as well. We think it's really cool. And it's just really hard to find like a ethical balance where it makes sense because
exactly.
The system's set up in a way that makes it really hard to make anything without exploitation.
Yeah, so it's like, it's an apron, it's nice, and it's like thing, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's still like, I'm sure parts of it is still made, in unethical ways, even though it's labeled as unethical. So then at the end of the day, it's like, fucking, how much do you want to make merch? And it's like, yes, I still want to make merch because I like the product, but it's
I think you just try your best. Like, I think it should be a rule, like, if it requires exploitation, then you don't deserve to make this product, Like, why do I, as a YouTuber, deserve to bring something into the world if someone else has to be fucked over? It's just all we can do is just do our best to make it as ethical as possible.
Yeah, but the hard thing for me is because I don't really buy anything. I'm like, I just don't care. Like, I like, unless it's a brand new product that is actually useful, I'm like, it's still nice. Like, I'd wear nice shirts, I guess. But
aprons are useful.
Apron
I do buy shirts.
Does the synthetic leather burn? It burns in an interesting way. It's not like, it's closer to real leather in the way kind of burns or it chars more. It doesn't just kind of light up in flames like plastic would. But yes, it still burns. All right, so back to the chocolate. What did someone say?
I mean, this is kind of what we're realizing as well. Long time ago, I flirted with the idea of producing sustainable clothing, and I realized the most sustainable thing is to not make clothing.
Yeah, exactly.
The amount of like waste is insane. Clothing waste is nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand people buying clothes and throwing away clothes. It happens so much.
Yeah.
All my clothes are fucking ratty and old, and it's just weird to be like, to know that people are doing that they're throwing away that many things.
But what's so annoying is how easy it is to make unethical clothing and make so much money.
So their profit margins are insane. Every single person you find on the internet who's selling their merch.
Fucking crazy. And it's just like you hear it and you're like, fuck. You're like, I want the money. It's so easy to just sell out and do that. And you're like, but for what reason? You're like, you already make enough on YouTube. So it's like,
yeah.
But someone said something that you won't understand. I did a thing, Divar fins when. That would be a sick collaboration. But I don't think anyone's going to buy $600 carbon fins with my name on it.
Yeah.
I've only bought much from Hassan. I think Hassan's merch is pretty good.
Hassan's probably the best one we've seen in that it's all union made, which is really funny because it means like he's probably making like $1 per shirt.
No, that's it. It's like,
the way he explained to us, he's like, he's not even... Obviously, merch is another profit stream, and his model is just like, it's not for profit, it's literally just fan service.
Yeah.
People want the merch. We can do it at breaking even prices where, you know, it's done ethically enough that essentially you're just paying the workers and no one else.
Yeah, exactly. I think Ludwig's merch was more for, I don't know much about the production, but I just thought it was very pretty work.
Yeah, really cool shirts.
Really
but
nice.
No, I mean, if it's run through his like co-op,
yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people out there doing it. Right.
But my logic of like me trying to justify slave labor for myself to make a lot of money, I was like, why the fuck do I want to give money to these stupid Americans? Because I'm like, I want to give money to these men in Pakistan that have made such beautiful leather aprons.
Yeah.
But then
if there's a way to contact these companies and be like, I will pay this sweatshop normal wages.
Yeah, I want to pay
do
them
exactly what you're doing now.
Yeah, I want to pay them more money, and then I get a better apron because the aprons that they produce look like fucking
amazing.
$500 aprons.
Yeah, they make such good aprons for so cheap, and it's like, great.
Yeah.
Just here's a normal wage. Keep going.
There's no way to do that though, because I'm sure whoever I was emailing would be like,
yes, of course.
Great idea.
I will distribute it amongst the women and children.
Yes, exactly. All right, let's go back to this. This was the guy talking about how MrBeast removed slave free from the MrBeast chocolates.
That's so funny.
If you're thinking, oh, it's a mistake, or maybe they forgot, I think the chances of this being true are less than 0.001%.
Very specific.
MrBeast prides himself on hiring the best of the best, and there is no way marketers would forget to put this kind of information on their website because it would boost their brand favorability in the eyes of consumers. It's likely then that MrBeast is now using child labor and forced labor for Feastables chocolates.
It's likely he's
especially bad because it means
No,
that
it's likely he
and
is.
the Feastables team were very aware that child labor and forced labor slavery exists in the chocolate industry, and yet decided to take advantage of the most weak and the vulnerable among us for personal gain.
I think this is the benefit of being a YouTuber, especially a YouTuber whose audience is children.
Yeah.
Is that like your target demographic isn't going to call you on this shit.
No.
Like, and that goes for, that's not just having your audience be children, that's YouTubers across the board.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Literally people watching, if you're not like a specific left-wing YouTuber, you can get around this.
We are giving us a lot of credit. We probably have
but I think
children watching us still.
No, but I'm saying like people have certain expectations. You practice what you preach. If you're a fucking finance YouTuber, of course this is so cool doing this because you get to show off that you've got a 97% profit margin. You know,
it's
like,
crazy.
This is there are certain audiences where either they don't give a shit or the fact that you're doing slave labor is really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think MrBeast is
those profit margins. Ooh,
yeah. I think MrBeast is in the position where like, do you have to disclose that you're using slaves? Like, probably not, because it won't change whether you're like under the rules of capitalism. It won't change whether your consumers are going to buy it or not.
What's so annoying is that you could still pay people properly and still make hundreds of millions.
It's
of dollars.
insane. That's the worst. Well,
that's the most insulting part of it. It's like you could really change these people's lives, and for someone that does a lot of philanthropy videos where we change people's lives, how can you give? Do a lot of videos where you're doing giveaways to children and you're helping poor children, but then at the same time you promote it, like selling chocolates.
It's just capitalist kind of brain rot. It's just this idea that you need to constantly grow and expand, and everything has to be bigger and bigger, and you have to make more and more. It's just a really stupid mindset and system.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, that's what you're saying. Like, so we were looking up shirts for boy. So we've actually got some coming out if we can, again, make it as ethically as we can. But there's, I think the profit margin for like, union-made shirts for us will be somewhere between $1 and $5 per shirt.
Compared to if you do non-union made, it's around $5 to produce, and you make $25 profit.
Yeah.
So it's like...
So you're making like 1/25th at worst, or like, one fifth at best of what a person would be making. But still, like...
Amber says, I'll make them for you. I can sew. I don't think make 1,000 shirts, but thank you for offering.
I think they're banking on the fact that we don't have enough fans who are going to buy.
Yeah,
merch.
Exactly.
Carter said he can help with getting union made shirts. I mean, we've got a merch company.
We do
like we have access to these things.
Doing it. Thank you, Carter.
It's just being willing to piss them off enough, just to be like, look, guys, I know we're making merch together. I would like neither of us to make any profit.
Yep, I want you to make no money. I want to make no money either.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with me not making money because I make money from other.
Yeah, we still make some
avenues.
money, but yeah.
But like a merch company is going to be hard to convince.
Yeah, exactly.
Or any company. But it's worse for MrBeast because he puts on these large public displays of being a philanthropist and a role model to young children.
I also think you guys make no money. Thank you.
I think MrBeast knew the entire time, since the beginning of Feastables, that he was going to use child labor and slave labor.
Do a merch make-along. Can we all make our own merch? Yeah. So we do a stream where everyone has to come with a blank t-shirt and you have to copy the same design that we're doing.
That's very fun.
For his chocolates, but he tried to trick us into thinking otherwise. To try and prove my point, I'm gonna first talk about the Feastables packaging, and then I'm gonna talk about the kosher and halal certifications. When MrBeast first launched Feastables, it was in line with his brand. They were clearly trying to do things ethically. They actually got a certification from the Rainforest Alliance. The Rainforest Alliance has major issues, but they push for protecting and improving forests, climate, human rights, and livelihood. Once you're certified, you're able to use their logo, which is a little frog, on all of your products, your website, on all of that stuff. When I saw the packaging for Feastables, both old and new, there was no Rainforest Alliance certified logo anywhere. Now, why would these...
Yeah, of course. Everyone loves showing off that logo.
Yeah. You wouldn't actually make the choice to your detriment.
It is crazy though, because even the one that is like the most ethical or like the gold standard of these brands, the gold over the stupid frog.
Right.
It's like doesn't she mean fucking anything?
Yeah, I mean, like it's probably better than not having it. But like again, these are the people who do these certifications are also private business, as we mentioned before. Like
so fake.
They're also cutting corners to make money. So like I don't know. It's all fucked. There's not a perfect way to do this. If there was, we wouldn't be making political YouTube videos. The world would be a utopia. Like there's no
Then we'd just be out fishing.
I'd be sick.
Brilliant marketers choose to leave that off when that would, again, boost your brand favorability in the eyes of consumers. The only conclusion that I can think of is that MrBeast,
what's his bouncy
he knew that one day they were going to get rid of that certification. You see, if one day that package has a frog logo on it and the next day it disappears, people will notice. They will especially notice because the Feastables bar, MrBeast sent this thing to everyone, to all the huge YouTubers.
He sent it to us.
Ran competitions, he got people.
Okay. The thing is, I think it's a cute point. Like, look, I like the work this guy's doing, honestly. Like, I think it's actually good journalism. Like, he's looked this stuff up, he's tracked, like, the times that it happened, and it's, it seems pretty compelling. I think the cute bit about it where he's like, oh, it's kind of offensive that he's doing this while on the other hand, like, he's using child exploitation and, like, unregulated environmental stuff, while on the other hand, he's pretending he's a friend to kids and he's, like, helping out poor kids. This is just what every company does. Like, this is not like it's bad MrBeast.
Did someone want Feastables?
Hey!
Who wants Feastables?
I actually do want Feastables. Thank you.
You get Feastables. You get Feastables.
Yeah. All right. Put it away. We should be getting paid for this. Put it away. Let's do it when he gives us money. No, it's in the background. What is this? A fucking Trump interview? Have merch in the background.
What are you eating, Alex?
I'm the only person in the house who likes dark chocolate.
You like eating them. tastes so good because I think you can taste like the little finger marks on it by the kids. It gives it
look
like
at that, look at that little kid finger on there.
it gives it like really good texture.
But it's also like, you know, when you look at like reports about the dog meat festival in China,
Yep.
and it's like if the dogs suffered, it makes the meat juicier.
Oh, you think it's that logic?
I know that. You can taste the adrenochrome in it. That's what adrenochrome is, right?
What?
Adrenochrome is like adrenaline from kids.
Yeah.
You catch a kid and you terrify them, then he gets adrenaline, and then when you put it into yourself, it makes you young. That's what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you get it off the back?
You can see it.
Ground, but let's eat some more. Have another.
All right. Love that you guys still have it. Now.
I mean,
we got like 2,000 bars.
Okay, look, we got all this chocolate for free. It's made by slave labor, sure. It's so much worse to throw that away because then the slave was enslaved for nothing.
It's not worth just throw it away because it's unhealthy for you to eat it.
No, but not really. Like it is, but let's say you had no food, apocalypse.
Yeah, even talking about the apocalypse. We're not in the apocalypse.
You know what I'm saying? This replaces another bit of food that I would be buying and taking out of other people's hands.
I wanted to drive around to schools in a white van that said free chocolate on the side and give out MrBeast chocolate bars. I thought that would be very fun.
Take selfies with it, take pictures on the shelves. This thing has a paper trail 10,000 miles long. And again, if one day it had that frog and the next day it was missing, people were gonna notice. So instead, they decide to only put it on their website because at the end of the day, who the hell reads a website except for weirdos like me? And if it was on the website one day and then gone the next, no one would notice except for, again, weirdos like me. And sure enough, if you look at their website today, there's nothing about the Rainforest Alliance certification, nothing about being child labor free, nothing about being slave labor free. By doing it this way, I think they tried to fool everyone into thinking that their chocolate is still child labor free and slave labor free. At the very beginning of their launch, they kind of made a big deal about it.
I mean,
not enough.
It is such a red hot move to first push for this and then go to slavery because there's no good way to brief people that you've made that change.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, look, guys, we've decided to do slavery. Like, it's there's no PR version of that. You literally have to just shut up, you know. And I guess it's not. You can't really because people are going to realize, especially if you're a big.
It's in
business.
the children's interest that watch my channel.
Oh no, I've seen that shit though. If you look at you know, right wing or like kind of like neoliberal economists, what do they call it? Neoclassical people defend sweatshops.
Yes.
Because they're just like, without these foreign companies, these people wouldn't have jobs.
What?
So they'd be doing agriculture, essentially.
To be fair, in the system that currently exists, where third world countries are getting fucked over and people need as much money as possible, you know where I'm going?
I think you're probably wrong. What are you saying?
I am definitely wrong. I'm making a really stupid point. That it probably makes sense for those families to put their kids into labor because they need more money. So I'm saying that's what they need. So in those situations, it does make sense for there to be slave labor for those families.
You're just going to get clipped.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's like if I was in these countries, I would put my son in a factory.
That's the whole problem.
Yeah, I know that
like
is.
That's what we're talking about.
But then when you cancel it without fixing the problem, then you're like, you probably just have families at 4 and the kids are going to go somewhere else anyway.
I think there's still probably better. I actually think subsistence.
I was not. Someone said, Alex, my ex-husband used to say shit like that. Not good. I'm not saying it's good in any way. Yeah, don't marry me.
No, I honestly, like, I don't know. Like, people say that. I honestly think subsistence farming is more fulfilling than working as a slave. Yeah. As
so
in,
picking
like,
cocoa?
Yeah. No, but cocoa is an export commodity. You're not picking that for your family.
Yeah, they've never tried it.
Like, no, but you know what I mean? Like, if you're surviving in the rainforest, you're not fucking... Can you, like, wash that or something? I don't want you touching my mouse with sticky hands.
You
It's
literally...
on your other finger. Yeah, because my hands are clean. Your hands are black.
Yeah.
Covered in shit, and you're just, like, licking them. I just thought you should wash your hands because you're going to be touching the mouse. Which is just like, we'll just make it I touch the mouse from now on.
Huge holler so that it was integral to their brand, but just enough so that if you Google Feastables child labor, all the articles are from their initial launch and they talk about how it is those things, but now it's nowhere to be found. Nobody has noticed. As a matter of fact, if you go to slaveryfreechocolates.org, which is a website that promotes various chocolate brands that are ethically sourced, Feastables remains on that list despite no longer meeting the requirements to be on that list.
I mean, maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
There's
It
an
could
off
still be.
chance, there's a tiny chance that they were just like, we don't have enough room on the packaging to put this thing on.
I don't think
It's
so.
gonna
I think
distract the kids.
I think the frog logo helps with selling in chocolate bars, but maybe kids. No, kids like frogs. Never mind.
As far as I can tell, not a single person or website has picked up on this change, which is why I'm making this video. The second reason why I think MrBeast knew that he was going to use child labor and slave labor is because of the kosher and halal certifications. This one requires a little bit of stretching, but in June of 2023, Reed Duscher, I don't know how to say his last name,
yeah, manager.
MrBeast's former manager, Reed, who is still sitting on the board of Feastables, he did a tour of the MrBeast chocolate factory in Peru. And that video isn't all that important except for the very end, where he thanks Machu Picchu Foods for the tour.
Thanks to Machu Picchu Foods for having us. We literally got to see everything from how cocoa is created to how we create MrBeast bars.
This tells us that Machu Picchu Foods is or was the manufacturer for Feastables.
Funny
Now,
name.
Machu Picchu is also Rainforest Alliance certified. They're also kosher certified and halal certified. But here's the thing. Feastables has never, since its very beginning, ever been kosher certified or halal certified. How is that possible?
Is there other parts of it that may contain animal
So-
products? Like the wrapping?
Yeah.
I don't even
Yeah,
know.
maybe. Or maybe it's because the company is so big that maybe people mix chocolate. Like I imagine, like let's say MrBeast's chocolate bars, maybe there's some produced in America, some produced, in Peru. Maybe it's like they didn't want to cover all bases of where cocoa could come from. Maybe if they have a supply issue at all.
Manufacture are both of those things. Now you might be thinking maybe it's because Machu Picchu Foods does some of it and then someone adds stuff to the chocolate later. However, in that video with Reed, they actually show that Machu Picchu Foods, it seems like, takes it from cacao bean all the way to packaged candy. Why is it that the manufacturer says their chocolates are kosher and halal, but Feastables says it isn't? Well, I think this line from Reed has something to do with it.
See, wild. We have 4 chocolate lines going, and we can't meet demand. So we need way more chocolate.
I think MrBeast knew all along that they would have to scale. And when they scaled, they were going to move away from Machu Picchu Foods. That means away from their halal certification, away from the kosher certification, away from the Rainforest Alliance certification. And that's why they chose to omit these things from their packaging. Because if one day it was kosher and halal and the next day it wasn't, then people might start to ask questions as to why.
As a Muslim, I'm confused why chocolate needs to be certified as halal. It's chocolate.
Yeah. I mean, is there a possibility?
chocolate
Is
has
there a
milk in it.
possibility though they just didn't want to pay for the certification?
Maybe, or what, they would have been able to access it, but the whole process of doing it, I don't
Maybe.
know. I don't know. I mean, this requires like knowing fucking corporate law, whatever it is.
You know what else has been changed? The stuff about child labor free and slave labor free. Why would MrBeast do all this? The simple answer is money. MrBeast has never been shy about telling the world that Feastables was created to fund his videos. And he has also never been shy about complaining about sponsors and how he felt like he wasn't getting paid the adequate amount for sponsors. This is why he created Feastables and why he promotes Feastables in every single video and at every opportunity he gets. But if you're constantly selling out of chocolates, like MrBeast has posted he has multiple times, that means no more money. I think MrBeast knew all along that this was going to happen, so he prepared for it in advance. When he first launched Feastables, he played up just enough. He played up the card of being slave labor.
There might be vanilla extract in the ingredients which uses alcohol. I fucking love streaming. I mean, I don't know. I guess I have to fact check people, but like, there's a different kind of genius everywhere.
Yeah, but there's also a different kind of answer for everything. You ask, and everyone's like, maybe it's this, maybe it's this. You're like, fuck. It's so many possibilities I could never think of. This hive mind of people.
Well, it's like Elon Musk is talking about getting the fucking brain implants that allow you to access all this information. Literally just start streaming. You ask a question and there's like 100 different people who are all experts in weird different like niche things. Yeah.
That's very cool. There might be pork come in the chocolate as a thickener.
Yeah, true.
That does work really well. It's almost like there's 2,700 different people here. Very true. Okay, I'm still impressed.
Child labor free just enough so that people would notice, but not enough that it became integral to his brand. And then slowly, quietly, he activated the plan to move away from those things, to take advantage of the weakest and the most vulnerable among us, hoping no one would notice. But I noticed, and I hope that the whole world notices now.
Honestly, do you reckon he's Vietnamese? Because his name could be An. Taraj. Yeah.
It was actually
We're reading Vietnamese food and watching Honestly. What a
pretty
I think it's well done. It's a good video.
Yeah, well done video. It's an interesting thing to point out. But it's not really like you didn't need this evidence to come to this conclusion based on the fact that you know that anyone that produces tens of millions of chocolate bars, that's impossible without child labor. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So it's a bit of like, yeah, it's it was
But
kind
it's
of a
just
given.
funny, all these people on the internet like discovering that he's a capitalist. It's just like,
Yeah.
if you watched him, like you know that this is a thing, and you're just like, when my understanding of him is like, I just hope he's marginally better than all the other companies doing
Yeah.
it. I don't know. Like, I never had this assumption that he was going to be like an anti-slave labor guy.
No.
Like, that's just, he's a money guy, and that's not a money choice.
What I find annoying even about the people mentioning child labor, I find it a bit like, you know, when people mention a war crime in war, in terms of like, adults don't like to be exploited either.
Yeah.
And so it's like, then they're in the same circumstances, but that's fine, and you just can't do it to children. It's like, no, it's all still fucked
Well,
up.
it's like, yeah, especially if you proletarianize a fucking person from a third world country, that's bad. Like, but I mean, it's the same kind of argument. It's like, I think whatever it is, like having any kind of limitations is still good.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want Mad Max fucking unbridled capitalism.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's inconsistent being like no child labor certification, but we can still have sweatshops from
Yeah.
other people. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's still good.
Kids are just salt in the wound. Yeah, exactly. But it's, I don't know.
Hey everyone, here's an edited clip from a Boy live stream. If you want to catch these live, they stream 3 times a week on Twitch. Enjoy this highlight.